Hello and welcome to creating your digital review forms for Wales. So in compliance with the aim to be born digital by 2030, Learning Assistant has now built in digital review forms that are embedded into the system. To set these forms up, please go to Settings on the left-hand column. When you're in here, you can then click on Forms in the top bar. This will then take you through to where you can build them custom forms. In the Create Custom Forms at the top right hand side, it will open a pop-up to allow you to build that review form. So you pop in the details and then you change the category to Digital Review. And then you would alter your permissions. Now in here, ensure that you put in initially every user group. Don't forget to do registrar, otherwise it will lock you out from making any amendments in the future. So this is saying that everyone can see the form. The next column is who can save a version of the form. So in this instance, you'll want it to be the assessor and the candidate and the expert witness, who will be the manager or the employer that will be signing off the review. Slightly different to setting up an assessment plan. When you tick the green tick box, this is when you can see an audit trail of who has completed and saved the version with a date and timestamp of that user group. So in this case, you want the assessor, the candidate and the expert witness to have a tick in that box. This means that once the assessor has completed the digital review, they can save and submit, which creates a version of that form. Then once the learner creates their comments and saves and submits, it will create a second version of that form. And again, finally, with the expert witness as the manager. This means that you can see who has signed off the form in what logical order and on what date and time on an individual basis. You will be able to see all three versions of the form and you will be able to see the history as it goes. To create and build your form then, you've got add a field. From there, the first bit may be a section break. So this could be where you want to discuss the last 6 weeks. You can pop in a description of what that's going to incorporate within that part of the review. And then from there, you'll want to add a field. So you'd ask your questions. So this might be, how did you find the last 6 weeks? Now again, for a little bit of audit trail and a bit of robustness to their answer, if you complete validation rules, you can make it a minimum or a maximum length, and you can make it required as well. So that's saying that this form is required to be filled out. Permissions then, as you want to be absolutely sure that it's the learner that has answered this question, you want to remove the assessor and make that the candidate. So the person that can answer this question is only the candidate. Helps, some messages can be put on. So it could be that help, so that you can add a little bit about the kind of answer that you want the learner to be able to see. After that, you can carry on building. So you could add another section break and do sort of your forward plan or the next 6 weeks. And then continuously add a field. The final bit, when you put a text box at the bottom, we would recommend that you do one for a learner, one for assessor and one for employer. And then in the permissions, again, you would remove that for the employer to be expert witness. That means that it's confirmation that the employer is the only person that has written in there. If you want them to be able to do a signature, to be able to type their name, then again you would add a text box or copy down the previous one. And where it says employer comments, you would change that to employer signature. With there, it then means that when the employer logs on, they're the only people who can type in their name and give a comment within that box. So then not only have you got the require acknowledgement, which is a time and date stamp of when the employer acknowledged that, same with the learner and same with the assessor, you've also got an employer signature and employer comments and also a date if you want to put it in there. So build the form with all the data. Don't forget at the bottom in a text box to add in your declaration, and then you can make it so that the validation rule, the permissions are no user groups. So that's your declaration on the bottom here. Once you've saved all of that detail within the form, you've then got on your home screen a list of all the forms here for you to be able to view and amend as needed. This helps with version control, so if you edit or you remove them, everyone across the system gets the new version and refrains from using the old. Okay, thank you very much.